Minister, I'm happy you raised this matter. Why would someone who says, if you are clean, go on, and then you see that as a threat? So, Minister, do I understand you to be saying, when you referred, was it Patricia, the lady to IGI, you were referring the matters she raised about intelligence, or were you asking Inspector General to profile her? Because I don't think it's a job of Inspector, it's an Inspector General of Intelligence. So I don't think his job is to profile individuals. His job is to make sure that he protects the integrity of the intelligence structures in the country. So was this assignment to investigate what Patricia raised, or was this assignment to profile Patricia?
Look, she was frequently talking about intelligence, some documents, some information, and so on. So I say to IGI, can you check this individual? I don't know her. I've never spoken to her. I didn't say how. He would know how. He would, for instance, have chosen to go to crime intelligence himself to say, can you do 1, 2, 3? I'm interested in this, or the minister is interested in this. But that's how I dealt with it, because I just wanted to know at that stage, how does she get seemingly to be in possession of some documents, some information on crime intelligence? He is Inspector General of Crime. How he would go about doing his work, I wasn't necessarily to be part of that. And if he had a problem of mandate on that, he would have said, no, I don't deal with that. He didn't say so.
My last question, Minister, is, do you think the NPKTT did a good job or not?
I think they did a good job in the context in which they were doing. Because
so why do you fix it when it's not broken?
It is that context as part of the factor. They were created to deal with political killings in the main councillors. They then added Amakosi after that, in Duna. They then added other crime activities like Forte, which I don't believe had anything to do with politics and so on. Maybe, I don't know. But they were directed by the president to do that and so on. Now, over time, there's been decline of political killings in KZN in particular. And as one of the factors, they've played a role, but there are other factors. Now, numbers keep on going down, especially after 2023. Now, to a point where in 2025, in March, we were told about one fresh matter. It was early, first 3 months of the year, one matter. I don't know now. But we were told in the same meeting about 7 fresh matters in 2024. And in 2023, that's when the decline started, and so on. At some point it occurred, but it went up a little bit in 2021, and so on. Now, looking at all other factors that have gone through, budget, structures, all of that, I then made that observation that we need to review, as I said in November in the 2 meetings, and seeing also that this was never meant to be permanent, and there have been extensions. So that they did work in the context of what they were dealing with, and I do want to emphasize for our consciousness that they were dealing. The other context that is important to note is that there are many killings in the country and in KZN, far more than those that were dealt with by political killings. Now, to a point where you then find discomfort that we may keep on saying the National Political Killings Task Team is doing very well, but the figures of murders are going up in the same province, clearly showing up, and other killings in the category, other categories like organized crime and taxi violence keep on. Now, how do you justify that when other people are being killed in large numbers, you keep on getting interested to the point that you want to keep the national political killings? Absolutely no justification. Despite doing, we are not denying that they did well. You rather want to take the model and see how you spread it than saying, no, let's continue with that, because it's unjustifiable. Unjustifiable. If you look at the expenses, about 415 million from 2018 to now. Count that they've been doing a good job, so you don't have a grievance as it is. But once figures go down to the extent that it has happened, surely it was a factor that you were needed to factor in terms of how you use resources. If you are interested in bringing down the murders of other people as a matter of duty and the very constitution that we are talking about.
Now, lastly, Minister, what you don't think on a hindsight, and given the outcry and the whole up and downs that we have now, that you could have handled the process, the consultations and everything else differently so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where we are now? The letters could have been written during business hours, normal business days, and consultations could have taken place sufficiently, and everybody taken on board with all of these good intentions that you're saying you have. Because if they're so good, you have to carry everyone along and make them understand where you come from, process them, and especially the president who now takes an initiative like this, and only to hear about it in the papers that that initiative is no longer there, and you now confirm it, that I actually briefed him or consulted him, which I don't think is a consultation. I briefed him after the fact. Don't you think with all of this, you could have handled this differently and in a more consultative and democratic manner that takes everybody along, and we don't feel like you are abusing a power or you're exercising a power you don't have? Thanks. Thank you, Chair.
Well, the last part that you end up with is the one that I'm contesting, but let's leave that. There's no way I can stand up here and say I couldn't have handled it differently. There's no way. But there are two ways in which, or two things that cropped up after I wrote the directives. The one reaction is by National Commissioner, which, if that was the way, the only way, there wouldn't have been any problem. There wouldn't have been any problem, wouldn't be here for any reason, because those matters were going to be handled the way they were, things were developing. But then there was another development led by Provincial Commissioner General Mkweli, premised on the fight back, premised on issues that I must only continue doing what I'm doing and not withdraw if I know I'm clean, and all those matters, including gloves are off. So that was the second way, parallel way of. So if I had anticipated that other way, that there would be a reaction, I would have handled it differently. But I would still have believed that it was time we reviewed this matter on merit and on facts, and it would have been justifiable. And perhaps it is handling that would have been different. So on one hand, things were meant to work well, and on the other, they were not meant to work well. And that's why we're here.
No, sorry, Chair. I still have some minutes. I'm just asking.
The time left is 5
minutes. Minister, I'm happy you raised this matter. Why would someone who says, if you are clean, go on, and then you see that as a threat? Because we get told that nonsense all the time. Malema is not there because he's not clean, he meant severe, and then I must be threatened by that.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
if someone
talking
says to you, if you are clean, go on, and let's see what happens. I'll never see that as a threat because I'm clean. Actually, I'm continuing so that you can take whatever you want to take against me. If I know I'm clean, I will never be blackmailed. If that is kind of a blackmail or a threat, why would you take something like that as a threat where a person says, if you are clean, go on, and you say, I'm being threatened? You're not being threatened. He's right. If you are clean, go on. And you are going on because you think you are clean. You have nothing to hide.